going to come out and say it. I think Jonasi Gomora had narcissistic personality disorder and a sex addiction. Hear me out, hear me out. He is classic textbook narcissism. Y'all know how I feel about that term. I don't like throwing that around loosely, but he had a grandiose sense of self. He had this self-entitlement and like he was just better than other people. He lacked empathy. He didn't care nothing about his wives, his children, or what his extended family was going through. He had exploitive behaviors. He basically took full advantage of his brother, for example. That was strictly for his own goals and for his own gain. Nobody can tell him anything. He could not receive constructive criticism. And also because he couldn't take it in, but at the end of that wind up being him being in denial and just completely refusing whatever the other person was saying, or it ended in rage or some type of physical abuse. Just couldn't fathom somebody disagreeing with him like he was always right. He had this excessive need for validation, so he wanted attention and admiration, and he demanded respect. Listen, I know that that was a lot, but don't get me started on all of the other stuff, the deceit, the manipulation, blaming others, self-centeredness, making excuses, being controlling, having no accountability, being a horrible father and a horrible husband. Of course, being physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive to his wives and his kids. He even did all of that on his deathbed. And this is why NPD has this complex interplay of neurological issues, environmental concerns, genetic concerns. All of this happened while in Jonasi's childhood. Think about it. He probably experienced some type of trauma or neglect because he said that I believe his father was an alcoholic, and I don't know what happened to his mother. I don't know if she passed away. Sure, he had emotional abuse, neglect, and a form of abandonment. Most people who have NPD, like Jonasi, experience some type of parenting extremes where the people praised you and you couldn't do any wrong. So you kind of like develop this grandiose sense of self like we talked about, and you're superior and you're entitled and you look down upon other people. Or you had to basically earn your parents' trust and love and support, which isn't healthy either. We don't know how Jonasi developed this. We don't know if it was genetics, if he had a family history of mental health issues, or if neurobiology was at place, because those who experience narcissistic personality disorder oftentimes have less gray matter in their brain, which means the gray matter is where we have empathy, where we have compassion, and they really just don't have as much as the average person. I believe he also had a sex addiction, which we're going to call compulsive sexual behavior disorder. Because he didn't have any self-control, this man wanted to sleep with anybody, anything that he felt he was attracted to and who was willing. And he was doing this without protection. Hello, I mean just sleeping with not only all of the different wives that he had, but random strangers, his daughter's friends, Lindani, all of these different people who may be having intercourse or other sexual activities with others. He was sleeping with them unprotected. For someone to do that, that means he wasn't thinking about the consequences. He has this grandiose sense of self that there's no way that I can get gonorrhea. There's no way I can get a sexually transmitted infection or disease. There's no way I can get HIV or AIDS. But guess what? You did. Even in that, he didn't even want to take his medication. So you're telling me you want to go the natural route? Telling me you want to go the holistic route? You're telling me that you don't even want to take the medication that is going to help with your gonorrhea so you won't be spreading it and keep spreading it among the people that you're hanging out with and sleeping with, but you also didn't want to take your medication for HIV and AIDS. What's up with that? I think he genuinely thought that he was going to get better, like he was going to be healed and magically whole, and this can't happen to me, but it did. I believe that he had a sexual addiction because he had these very strong thoughts and impulses and behaviors that he really couldn't control, and they impacted his livelihood. They impacted his relationships, they impacted his family, they impacted his work, and so on and so forth. Yes, I can support and back up the claim that I think Jonasi Gomora has narcissistic personality disorder and a sex addiction. And if you have not watched my other video that I made on the Polygamist, you should watch it right here.